some Harmontown.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to the fun show here at Big TV, Brookline Interactive Group. This is, I left my notes in my pocket. How's that for a start, folks?
That's a good
Anyway,
start,
this is the February 25th edition
Yeah.
of the Fun Show 2019.
Good.
We're coming on after yesterday was the big Academy Awards broadcast, where they made an interesting experiment that I thought was quite successful. They had no host. They had just the presenters came on, and they gave them
They
lines
had
to
Robert Kraft for free on that one.
say. Yeah, probably, or maybe for $69. Who knows? He said. In any case, I thought it was good. It only ran 15 minutes over, which was an improvement on past things. I would assume that the greatest takeaway from it is that it clearly had to have exponentially more African American winners than. It's entirely possible it's as many African American winners as the entire history of the
So.
of the Oscars.
If you lived
total.
At the
Total,
Yeah.
yes.
If you
Yeah.
had lived at the Goddard House last night, you could have gone and watched this and had free popcorn.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Did you do that?
No. No, I did. I went down and I said, I can't wait for the popcorn. I'm going to go upstairs.
You mean the popcorn was behind schedule, huh?
It was, they had it locked up, I think, on a special place. And
Well, I
got-
can see that we're going to have a whole new wealth of stories
Okay. All right.
from your new
Home.
residence.
Residence,
Yes, your new
yeah.
residence on
But the
things.
cat says he's not happy there.
The cat's not happy?
No.
Cat can't look out the window and watch the birds or whatever?
Well, he can, but he's not. He could wander around in my old previous digs across the street from me.
Yes, yes.
He could wander around, Susan.
He could probably get lost from you for days at a time if he wanted to.
And we didn't count the basement either, otherwise known as the cellar.
Did he know how to get to the cellar?
Yes, he did.
Oh, very
He's
good.
pretty good.
Back staircase, right?
Everything stopped. Little things stopped running around, and that's it.
And that's what you wanted.
That's it. I have to tell
In
you,
other words, you were lucky you actually got a mouser.
it's sad that he didn't belong to a union. He could have made some money.
I wonder whether the cats that they breed these days still have the natural instinct to go
They
after
do.
mice.
I think they do.
Anyway, he earned his keep.
He
which
earned
is,
his keep, but he's done some things that were nasty.
You know,
House.
my
little place.
hamsters never earned their keep,
He's too
and my fish never
Yeah.
earned their keep.
Yeah.
You know, they were useless. Well, a group of 58 experts from Madeleine Albright and other former national security and like attorney generals and stuff
Oh,
from both parties
good.
have gotten together, and they've issued a report that comes to the emphatic conclusion that there is no emergency.
Well, you know, I kind of believe that.
Yeah. And tomorrow, the House of Representatives will vote to overturn the current occupants' declaration of an emergency.
What if they don't have enough votes?
Well, they will in the House. That's not a
in the
problem.
House they will.
Then it'll go to the Senate, and we'll see whether
Yeah.
any Republicans have grown a pair in the last year. They probably haven't, but we'll find out.
You're talking about backbones?
I have a friend who was in the Navy. He was just spent about 4 years in Guam, and he came home. I had the annual meeting of the Society of the Cincinnati on Friday,
Right.
and he had to cancel at the last minute coming up for the meeting because when he got back from Guam, they gave him the job of overseeing the design and construction of base housing.
Oh,
And they have a new, apparently, I think, a new program where they're building like hotels on military bases, for short-term accommodations of
okay.
people
And what about
running
the
past.
prices?
Huh?
Price?
Price?
Price.
I have no idea what the price is. What I want to say is the reason he had to cancel his plans is because he all of a sudden had to start cleaning up the problem that all the money for this housing is what Donnie John grabbed for his wall. So all of a sudden he's got this thing, years in the planning, lots of reports as to how it was needed and necessary, and people were waiting for it. No, this kleptomaniac stole it.
But
Which-
maybe he'll build some housing down on the border.
For his troops,
For troops.
for his
yeah,
troops,
that's-
and his construction workers and ICE agents. And it reminds me that we've, amid all the distractions, we've lost sight of the fact that the world is being taken over by something aptly called kleptocracy.
Kleptocracy, yes.
And it actually started in Russia. It started with the fall of the Soviet Union. And we actually, or our government, encouraged it. We encouraged these Russian plutarchs to grab all this money because they invested the largest part of it, they put away right here in the United States.
Of course.
For example, they invested in a lot of Trump buildings.
Yeah.
And
Trump Towers.
And what happened
Yeah.
is that instead of democracy infecting the Soviet Union, the kleptocracy has taken over the United States.
And England, too, they built a lot of stuff, too.
England.
England.
England,
you're right.
London is one of the favorite places
That's
to
right.
park your ill-gotten
money.
gains from every dictator and corrupt official in the world.
Would you live in a Trump Tower? Would you go Trump?
Would you enter a Trump
There
Tower?
you go.
I found when
When I have to go to the VA in Jamaica Plain, I do not go through the front door.
You don't go through the front door.
Nope. So I have to go past that idiot's picture. I go through the back. Serious. When I would go for my Toastmasters as an area director,
He's
I would
right
go
there.
through the back.
He's right. Big picture. There he
I'm
is.
surprised we allow that in Massachusetts.
Well, yeah, but
What?
he's,
What? His
it's
picture?
Yeah.
Because it's a federal building.
Federal building. Yeah, that's it.
Well, we should be able to do something about that.
Well, they're gonna trying to do away with the Veterans Administration and privatize everything.
You know what we should do? We should print up pictures of Alfred E. Newman with adhesive backing and go in there on a regular basis and just paste them
Slap
over
it
the.
up there. Yeah.
Well, he
I'm
wouldn't
sure
know
Vistaprint could do that really
He
well.
wouldn't know who Alfred E. Newman. He says, "There's somebody I'd like to vote for." He'd tell us that.
There's no evidence that he ever voted for anybody,
Yeah.
except perhaps himself.
Yeah, well,
Well, what do you think about Bernie? Bernie got $4 million smack right off the.
I think that's a great tragedy for the United States.
What, you think it's having Bernie is worse than having the knucklehead that's in there now?
If the Democrats nominate Bernie Sanders, we will have 4 more years of
Really?
Donald
You
Trump.
think
of of him.
Of Trump.
So who do
I
you
don't
think?
want
who
to
do you-
say Trump. I said him.
Yes, him.
Okay. You meant
The current occupant.
T.
Yes.
DT.
No, I was very upset that he was running. The people, I mean, if Bernie Sanders were to somehow get elected president of the United States at this point, when he took the oath of office, he'd be 79 years old.
Yeah, but he's a communist. He can't get in.
Okay, so that's a plus. Don't forget he's also Jewish.
He's also no. You can't have any religion if you're a communist. That's part of it.
Well, that's probably why he calls himself a socialist.
Yeah, well, that's okay. But social communist, wait a minute, Marx is socialist. That's
calls
it.
himself a socialist.
Yeah, okay. You think
but-
you know everything.
But I mean,
She knows.
he's old. He's socialist. He's Jewish.
He isn't Jewish. He doesn't follow any religion.
He's ethnically Jewish. Okay.
Ah, okay. All right, okay.
In any case, no, I'm not, to answer your question, I'm not thrilled with Bernie joining in. On the other hand, frankly, I'm not overly enthusiastic about any of them. You know, I have a feeling that the only person, I mean, if you were in that large field of people at the moment, you probably are most worried about Bernie. However,
He'll never win.
the one person, if I were a candidate in that overcrowded field, the one person I would really be worried about is Joe Biden. Although Joe's only a couple years younger,
That's right.
you know. For that matter,
Why
Elizabeth is old.
Why are you worried about Joe Biden?
Because I think Joe Biden can win the nomination.
Yeah, but you think he could beat Trump?
Well, I would hope and pray and stay up at night thinking that your cat could beat Trump.
Oh, no.
But I'm not sure.
His name is Wilson, the cat.
Wilson?
He could
yeah,
beat him.
We already had a Wilson.
That's right.
Yes.
That's why I named this cat Wilson.
Woodrow?
Yeah. No, not Woodrow. I was thinking of Woodrow, but then I said Wilson.
Just Wilson. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I mean, one would think back in the old days,
Well, we
our
didn't have all
audience
these
isn't going to
taxes
remember,
in
but do you
Brookline,
remember
yeah.
Dave Garroway?
Yes.
Dave Garroway,
I like Dave
the old
Garroway.
Today Show.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you remember his unorthodox sidekick on his show? J. Fred Muggs.
That's what I was going to
Oh,
say.
yeah. J. Fred Muggs.
J.
Yeah.
Fred Muggs. For those in the audience who don't remember this, J. Fred Muggs was a chimpanzee who appeared on the show dressed in a suit and one thing and another. But we used to say of politicians that we didn't like over the years, he couldn't beat J. Fred Muggs.
That's right.
And I would hope and pray that the current occupant couldn't beat J. Fred Muggs, because the very simple fact is that if the current occupant somehow got reelected to this office, it signals the fact that America is done, over,
is.
finished, gone.
No, it's not. We're not. That it's not going to happen.
What, that he'll be reelected or that we're over?
Both. It's not going to happen.
But I mean, we would have to concede that that the great experiment.
He's not going to become king. He wants to be king.
Yeah, he really thinks he's a dictator. You know.
Well, I don't know if he's a dictator, but he'd like to set up a royal family, wouldn't he? A nice family.
Yeah,
What do you think of that?
he's got kind of a poor start, or maybe he has a good start, right? I mean, after all, his sons seem to.
I think of what play they.
Huh?
Is it? Would it be? Oh my gosh.
Jesus,
What's that? Oh gosh.
how many guys from his
A
White
Lion in
House?
Winter.
Lion in Winter.
Yeah.
Well, what I was thinking of was the sort of hemophilic, slightly addled children of the inbred royalty.
Oh, okay.
You know, because I
Pippin.
don't want to say anything about his youngest,
No, I
young
wouldn't say-
Mr. Barron,
Barron.
who he named after a financial magazine.
Right.
But his other
But
two,
think about it, Baron royalty.
yeah, right.
He's going for them.
But his other two sons are clearly genetic defectives.
Tweedledum and Tweedledee.
They need to put on about 100 pounds, and then they'd be perfect. In the meantime, they're just going to have to go in the road company of Dumb and Dumber.
Did you know, I hate to bring this up, that fentanyl, that drug, is 40 times more potent than heroin?
Yeah, it's a real problem. There was a
40 times.
cop, I think it was a policeman, or was it
Oh,
a
yeah.
EMT or police, who responded to an overdose, and just the fentanyl in the air
Air.
almost killed him.
Yeah, that's right. I
He was
read
admitted to the
that
hospital, wasn't
story.
I mean, come on. I mean,
How can a human...
why do you take stuff that's that lethal
I know.
and put it in your body, right? All right, I'm going to say something very politically incorrect,
Okay.
Okay.
but is it worth all our great efforts to save these people?
Well, that's... The Philippine president says no, it isn't. He
Well,
says to the police, kill him, kill all those
he
drugs.
wants to speed it up. He
Yeah,
wants to take
shoot-
an active
shoot everybody,
hand.
you know.
But
You got any friends?
I mean, we have lots of reports. You know, all EMTs and all cops are, well, not all, but I always get annoyed when everybody in America is watching, not me. Anyway, but generally police and fire departments these days are all carrying Narcan. Right, so that brings people back from opioid overdoses.
Some of them are carrying big fat wallets too. They're getting some real
But
money.
here's what I wanted to say.
Oh.
There are reports constantly of giving Narcan to the same person
Yeah.
2 or 3 times
Two or
in a
three
weekend and
times.
sometimes twice on the same day.
So
Yeah.
what's the cost? How much? A lot of
What's
money.
the point?
What's the point exactly?
What's the
Thank
point?
you.
Well, save money at least. If we didn't do it, we'd save a lot of money. Wait, why can't these take these folks and put them in places where they can work at something like, as he said,
Would they?
raking the forests or something.
Raking the forest, and we have
Trump
no more
talked
forest
about
fires,
that,
right?
You know? He said,
I
why
mean,
aren't
apparently
these-
that's what they do in Finland, right? I hear they do that in Finland. Rake the
All
forest, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay.
It is now time for the Big TV Unrehearsed Thespian Society's presentation for this evening.
And boy, are we
Which
unrehearsed.
Comes from the lower middle section of the vault this time.
Yeah.
It actually comes from 2007, and it's interesting because it makes a lot of comments about politics in an upcoming presidential election, the election of 2008. But if you hang with this, I think you'll find that Mike Sallin's powers of projection and prediction may rank up there with H.G. Wells. So this is an entitled Waiting Game.
I have to give you a special falling asleep.
They can't sleep.
Well, join the club.
Use decaf
How about a little empathy?
with a packet of equal.
Oh, he's hurting.
Let's stroke him.
Oh, cut it out.
You really want help?
Yeah, just ask.
I'm in a fog all day.
Could be sleep apnea.
Or restless foot syndrome?
But what should I do?
Exercise in the gym.
Yeah, swim laps.
I'm too tired. I'd drown.
Run in place at home.
Climb the
I'd
stairs.
never make it up.
Medication?
A little wine at dinner.
Oh, look, just listening to you guys makes me sleepy.
Thanks.
How about mod music like YouTube?
Oh, very restful.
Maybe a long poem.
You have to concentrate.
Write a short story.
Oh, I hate that.
Keep a diary
List everything at bedtime.
Okay, possible.
and have pens that work in the house.
Watch a talkie movie.
Make a barbecue.
And invite us.
What, every night?
Clean up the next night.
Take a course.
With lots of reading.
Yeah, that might do it.
A hot shower.
Before Benny by.
These are actually great ideas.
Things that slow you down.
Slow me down. I can barely get the key in the door.
Worse with our suggestions.
Like slow motion.
All right, I'll try it.
Or watch an old Marx Brothers movie.
Yeah, slapstick, belly laughs. It's exhausting.
Terrific.
And lay off garlic and onions.
Oh, loud rock music.
You only imagine you can't sleep.
It's a relaxation mode.
You used to be a teacher.
Stay off antioxidants.
Maybe hypnosis would help.
You think we could use that on the Iraqis?
Couldn't hurt.
The Shiites, the Sunnis, the Kurds, nodding off all of them, you know.
Hey, our guys could use a little quiet
You
time.
said it.
Both sides are tired.
But we're surging.
Yeah, and everybody's killing each other.
The Kurds are busy pumping oil.
Lots of Iraqis are fleeing.
And I'm sick of it.
Wish we could get out.
But they want us to stay.
Yeah, because they hate us.
That's crazy.
It does seem paranoid.
Or schizophrenic.
Who's he talking about?
Might need a neurologist.
I have had trouble.
Miss Universe got booed last week.
Why did the Mexicans do it?
Well, the illegals and the new border fence.
We're not popular with the Iraqis either.
So who cares?
We can't just cut and run.
Bush knows we need a change.
Forget about a timetable.
There is the 2008 election.
The American Idol's more important.
Well, the CDC sure wishes they were.
Drug resistant, TB, and the speaker's trips.
I think there's more to come, if you want to
As
know.
long as we're all safe.
They got him in a good hospital.
We got other kinds of terrorists around, too.
Yeah, they're plotting the New York airport fire.
Joe sounds wide awake.
Well, could we cast a spell over everybody?
My eyelids are drooping as we speak.
If we can keep this up a while.
Or a big dinner with drinks?
Ah, now that's intriguing.
Okay, where?
Sushi bar, noodles.
That's out.
How about a big steak with and fries?
I'll have ribs.
Me too.
Fast and easy.
Now I won't sleep tonight.
Hagel, Bloomberg, Thompson.
Top one.
A third party.
Too many candidates.
There's too many early primaries and too much time.
We'll lose voters' interest.
Don't forget the internet.
Barack doesn't.
People are contributing to them.
Hillary's camp concerned.
Fred Thompson's got lots of TV viewers.
And there's Governor Romney.
A true conservative.
Well, he does look good.
Nice hair. So does Arnold.
He needs a constitutional amendment.
So, how do I end the insomnia?
Count sheep.
I like sheep.
Everybody likes sheep.
Okay, how long does it take to demolish a steak?
That's my style exactly.
Overeating always brings indigestion.
Spoil sport.
He's gonna suffer tonight.
Poetic justice. Blackout.
Okay.
All right. That one we called
Good.
waiting game.
A waiting game. We're waiting for you to fall asleep. And you did. Okay. Now, what have I got here? I got some things here.
Yes.
Mueller's report. What do you think about that? Mueller's report.
Well, I think that we need to be concerned as to whether anybody will actually see it. But it's been pointed out, he has farmed a lot of it out to grand juries and what are they called? U.S. attorneys in various parts.
Right.
So it's going to be a little hard to quash.
Well,
But I suspect that the president's henchmen will do everything they can to bury it.
Yes. What about the Russians? Do you think the president actually was doing a deal with the Russians?
Yes. In a word, yes.
All right. That's a fair answer.
Right.
Yeah.
He's as your friend who recently wrote the book, he was asked whether he was still concerned that the president of the United States was a Russian asset, and he said, yes.
Yes.
There you go.
That was his answer. Okay.
Yes. He didn't beat around the bush or anything else. He
Yeah.
said yes.
I thought he was pretty good, that fellow who wrote the book.
President of the United States was a
They
Russian
fired him.
asset.
Trump fired him, yeah.
Well, if anybody's interested in an interesting evening,
Okay.
tomorrow at 6:30, Advanced Access Toastmasters is having their International and Table Topic Speech Contest
Where?
at Brookline Public Library, the main branch in Honeyman Hall, from 6:30, and people are welcome to come and watch.
6:30, and how long does this generally run, do you think?
Well, it depends on how many. Well, let's put it this way: the library closes at 9, so we have to be out of there at 8:45.
Okay.
So
All right.
you know.
So what time are they
idea.
going
Yeah.
to begin serving coffee?
So I mean, and we do have a little snack time.
And this is the kind of event that if you can't be there at 6, you could come later, right?
Well, you'll miss the speeches. Because it's a competition.
Well, I mean, you won't be able to judge the competition, but you'll hear
You'll hear
interesting
some of them. You'll
hear
hear
some of it.
presentations.
Yeah,
All right,
you'll
that
hear
way
some of
good.
them.
And my experience is that they're aside from the competition, they're a worthwhile part of time just to listen to. All right, well, we've gotten this
We
far.
got some time.
Huh?
We got a few.
We've
a little-
gotten this far without mentioning the elephant in the room if you're in Brookline at the moment. And that is our neighbor, Robert Kraft.
I want to talk about that. It's horrible,
And
but I will.
one has to want. It is so hard to believe because it is so déclassé.
They
thing is-
say a good description.
You know, it's hard to believe that a man celebrating his 6th Super Bowl victory, billions of dollars, a fleet of his own aircrafts,
Yeah.
you know,
And he's only 70s.
out at Oscar pre-parties, you know, et cetera, et
A
cetera,
nice girlfriend.
would be going into a shabby, dirty Chinese massage parlor in a strip mall in Jupiter, Florida. I find it hard to think of him being in Jupiter, Florida,
Yeah.
much less in a strip mall, much less in a massage parlor.
He's innocent until proven guilty.
And all they've denied is that he didn't do anything illegal. So basically, all the things that I find really tacky, they've already sort of course, I think having a home in that part of Florida is pretty tacky all by
you think
itself.
that President Trump will bar him from coming to the White House with the Patriots?
Why wouldn't he welcome him with open arms? He's even more of a kindred spirit now.
Birds of a feather.
He
Yeah.
said he
Yeah.
can't believe that Robert was in that kind of a trouble. He said that. Yeah.
I couldn't believe my friend Robert Kraft would behave like me. But I mean, this man is a billionaire.
Yeah.
He could have high-class talent brought to his home.
Yes, he could.
You know, I mean, do you really drive up to the, exotic orchid massage parlor? I don't remember what the name of it was. In your limousine, and your chauffeur stays in the car while you go
Well, I
in there.
guess he'd rather Arby's than the top of the hub. I don't know.
I have to say, right away before it ends, that
It's worse than that. It's Taco Bell.
and Spike Lee won his
Spike Lee finally won an Oscar.
won an Oscar, but not the one he
for
won.
adapted screenplay, the best adapted screenplay.
And
Right.
did you see what he did when he won it? He jumped on Samuel L. Jackson like he was a 5-year-old.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
This is what they call a kangaroo hug.
Well,
And then he pulled out a speech which he did a really bad job of reading. I mean, if any of his actors had done that bad a job. But it's I don't know. Spike Lee is a classless act.
yeah.
And when he didn't win Best Picture, he stormed out of the hall. And then somebody must have told him, you can't do that, Spike. So he came back to his seat, and he stood with his back to the people accepting their Oscar.
Okay.
And afterwards, he simply said that they made a bad call.
Well, they got don't forget all these people out there get a bag of presents of all kinds of goodies. You know, maybe a wristwatch or toiletries and all kinds of stuff. Well, you don't want to get into that. All right, that's all. I have to call it off.
It's the gift bag that Michael.
He's excited about the swag bag, yeah.
When I win my Oscar, I'm going to take you as my +1 so you can get a gift bag. We're going to get a bag that's going to have the goodies. Hi-ho, the burial. We're going to get the goodies.
Well, folks,
That's it. Good night, everybody, from the fun show
See you in
here
March.
at Big TV. The good Lord willing, the creek don't rise. We'll be back next Monday to entertain and elucidate you.
See you in March.